To do a video about how the United States never was and cannot be a capitalist country. In fact, no country can be a truly capitalist country with a truly free market, because to be such would be anarchism and against any country, because it is simply, capitalism is simply being driven by the love of money for the lust of money. Okay, so the Commerce Clause, a lot of people don't understand this. A lot of people diss me. How you know you're an actual third positionist is the Nazis call you a communist and the communists call you a Nazi. Okay, that's how you know when you're a third positionist. So I just want to put that out there. I'm neither. I do call myself a communist with U.S. values, and I'll get into that when I do my video about Theodore Roosevelt and Roosevelt progressivism and why I'm a Roosevelt progressive, although with Roosevelt progressivism in a modern sense, okay? So the Article 1, Section 8, Clause 3, which is called the Commerce Clause, states the Congress shall have power, meaning the people have power through elected officials, to regulate commerce with foreign nations and among the several states and with Indian tribes. This, of course, is to regulate the economy to be within the best interests of the people and within the best interests of the Republic. Okay. The significance of the Commerce Clause is described in Supreme Court's opinion in Gonzalez versus Reich. Okay, this is from the Supreme Court. The Commerce Clause emerged as the framers' response to the central problem giving rise to the Constitution itself, the absence of any federal commerce power or under the Articles of Confederation. Okay, I'm going to stop right there for a second. The reason that was a problem, the Articles of Confederation, which did not allow for a strong central government as the Constitution gives. The federal government is a central government, which allows for central planning, central action, action in defense of our life, liberty, and our happiness, our life, liberty, and prosperity. Okay, this is action for our prosperity. Okay, to continue. For the first century of our history, the primary use of the clause was to preclude the kind of discriminatory state legislation that had once been permissible. Then, in response to rapid industrial development and an increasingly interdependent national economy, Congress ushered in a new era of federal regulation under the commerce power, beginning with the enactment of the Interstate Commerce Act. Okay? So I'm going to go further with this. I'm going to get into all this in a later video, but I'm going to pause it real quick and move on. Now, what I want to make sure people understand, the Gilded Age, the age that we began to move forward, okay, was a planned economic feat, okay, and that moved us towards progressivism, okay. So a lot of the people that got rich in the Gilded Age moved forward into the progressive era, which brought prosperity to the many and brought about the Roaring Twenties. Okay? So I want to talk about planned economies. So planned economies contrast with command economies, and the planned economy is an economic system in which the government controls and regulates production, distribution, prices, etc. Whereas a command economy necessarily has substantial public ownership of industry. We need to move forward toward a command economy, and I'll get into that later. In command economies, important allocation decisions are made by government authorities and are imposed by law. This goes against the Marxist understanding of conscious planning. Decentralized planning has been proposed as a basis for socialism and has been variously advocated by anarchists, council communists, libertarian Marxists, and other democratic and libertarian socialists. Let me remind you, anarchists are not, by any stretch of the imagination, communists. They are capitalists. At their heart, they are capitalists, whether they know it or not, because they are against the use of government power to bring about the proper change is needed to protect everybody's rights and everybody's prosperity. Most of a command economy is organized in a top-down administrative model by a central authority. Remember how I talked about that with the need for a strong central government that was fixed by the Constitution. Historians have associated planned economies with Marxist and Leninist states and the Soviet economic model since the 1980s. It was recognized that the Soviet economic model did not actually constitute a planned economy and that comprehensive and binding plan did not guide production and investment, the further distinctive of an administrative command economy, meaning that the Soviet Union under Stalin, who turned it into a command economy, meaning the government is saying, make this much of this, so that we have enough of this to survive this or that disaster, okay? Now I'm going to get into the use of technology, because people don't quite get this. So give me a second here. Now, as I move forward into my views of progressivism and progressivism of the future, I'm going to get very much into automation and the need for automation. Right now with this video, I'm just going to deal with the automation of agriculture because a lot of people are hungry. In an era when due to technology, due to agricultural technology, from chemistry to genetics to automation, nobody needs to be hungry. Okay? So let's talk about vertical farming. This is automated vertical farming. The planting of seedlings can be automated. And you can pause this and read it. Transferring seedlings into vertical farming beds. Automated. Automated watering, lighting, and fertilizing. Monitoring crop growth and health. Automated harvesting. Cleaning and reloading farm beds for reuse. Every aspect of agriculture automated. Automated with robotics. Okay? So what I'm explaining here is people always complain that, you can't have full socialism because of the proletariats and the bourgeoisie and the yada 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 yada. Due to technology, we were entering an era where there is going to be no such thing as the proletariat. There is going to be no such thing as the bourgeoisie. There will be people. And basic needs, the physiological needs, the Maslowian physiological needs, will be easily met through automation. And we will not just move to a cashless society, we will move to a costless society. And what will happen is people's worth is going to have to be judged by things other than what they produce. Especially considering that a lot of what people produce in a service-based industry is nothing. Okay? That's what's going on in the United States now. So we're going to have to move toward where people are being judged for their contributions to society based on other things than their raw production. The people are no longer going to be cogs in a machine. People are going to be needed to be viewed as people with diverse personalities and things of that nature. And this is where social credit systems are going to come in, and where things of that nature are going to come in. And the use of social credit is a good thing. It will be a good thing. It's just a matter of it being used appropriately. Okay? We have social credit systems in the United States already. What do you think a criminal record is? Why do you think you can't do certain things if you have a criminal record? That's social credit. That's a social credit score. Keep that in mind. And that's all for this video.